Welcome everyone. Welcome to Adobe InDesign Tuesday. Great to see so many of you piling into the room already. Welcome everyone. Welcome. InDesign Tuesday. Again, it's that time of the week. It's that time of the year. It's that time of the day. Time to show you a little bit of InDesign. Welcome everyone. So I see Renee, Rafid, Eugene, Eugen in the house as well. And I see some folks on Twitter watching as well. Welcome everyone. Today we're going to just do a quick tip. This one shouldn't take too long. Victoria, hello. This one shouldn't take too long. We're just going to do a simple thing around color. It's a simple thing, but it's one of those things that drives me absolutely nuts. If you're a graphic designer and you're like, hey, I got my color themes nailed. Every time I'm going to do a new project, I know what colors I'm going to use, or my clients supply the colors. That's great. If you're like me or the rest of us, we're like, I don't know what I'm going to pick. So the problem with picking color for me is that I tend to always go to my same default colors. Like I don't usually step outside the box. But if I see something I really like, it's easy. You know, I was like, oh yeah, those colors look great together. But I can never really put those colors together proactively or up front. So with that said, we're going to take a look at how you can easily do this with InDesign. And I wish this tool were in other tools. I actually wish it was in Adobe Muse. You've seen me talk about this tool before, but we're going to take a slightly different approach to it. We're going to go a little bit more in depth with it. Normally when I show it, I'm showing it in conjunction with other things. I don't give it really a chance to dive into all of its capabilities. So we're going to see a little bit more of what this can do. So let's go ahead and switch over to the computer. Mohammed, welcome. Julian, welcome. Alexis, welcome everyone. All right, so we're in InDesign. I've got no document open as I normally do. And I'm going to go ahead and simply choose a new document. And when I don't have a document size in mind, I usually start with a template. So the template that I'm going to use, if you guys want to go back and do this later, I'm going to the print templates. And there is a clean and modern magazine layout, which is a free template in InDesign CC. So that's the one I picked. Of course, you will be able to sync whatever fonts are included in that document because that particular template is it uses, of course, just like all of our templates, use Typekit fonts. All right, so let's go ahead and open up that template, and it defaults to some colors. And I'm not a huge fan of green, so I usually don't start with green. But it's defaulted to a couple of colors, basically a green and a gray. And if you want to start or keep that green, you can. That green's not going to be my favorite color, but that's the point. What is going to be my color? What's this whole newsletter about? What am I going to... Or even if it's a newsletter that I'm doing on a regular basis, maybe the color theme changes with each issue. So that's where I get stuck. Like, I don't know what color I want, but I know I don't want that one. So if you're in that dilemma, here's one of the things you can do. Don't worry about the color right off the bat. Start with maybe your hero image or your cover image or whatever it is that you're going to put on the magazine besides the type and the background. So for example, let's say this were going to be the winter issue, and most people in this area of the United States are having a cold spell, so let's not do spring just yet. Let's do winter. So I'm going to go to Adobe Stock, and I'm just going to search for winter. Now, I may have my own images already, but if I search for winter, even if I don't buy any of these images, they will give me some ideas on what winter images might look like. Like I really like this one because it's not just the kind of cold, bluey, white snow. It's also got a sunset in it. So maybe I'll use that one. Let me see if I scroll down and see if I like one better. Nah, I kind of like that one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just pull that one in. I can drag it right into this frame, and it's going to be small because it's just a preview image, but I'm going to go ahead and say fill the frame proportionally. And now I've got my hero image. It's got some nice yellows in it, some oranges, some blues, some maybe pinks, but some different colors in it. And rather than me guessing at what those colors are, InDesign's got one of my favorite tools, which I said this tool should be in other programs too, but it's called the Color Theme tool. Shift I to get to it on if you're using the keyboard to switch tools. So if I click the color theme tool, you'll notice that I get to click on the image and it will create a theme based on the image I just clicked on. So that's one way I get colors right off the bat, is just by clicking on an image. And then once I've got that theme, this is part of the process of drilling down into this feature that I told you I don't get a chance to do. You'll notice that there's a flyout menu. That flyout menu lets you get slightly different versions of those colors. So if you're looking for a colorful theme, or a bright theme, or a dark theme, or a deep theme, or a muted theme, you can get different variations. So it's not the bright orange, maybe it's a deeper, darker, richer orange or burgundy or that color. So just knowing that right off the bat, I can pick different colors or different variations of those colors rather than the ones that just came out of the image. So that helps me quite a bit, because like dark, maybe I'm looking for dark colors, but I'm not. Let's see what muted looks like. Those kind of look dull and muted, but I'm going to go for bright in this case. Now, once you choose which variations of those colors you want, the next thing is, where do you want them saved? Do you want them saved in the regular swatches panel, which is great. They will be in this document and this document only. Or you have the option of putting them in your current Creative Cloud library. So that way they'll be accessible not only to this document, not only to InDesign, but all of your applications. So sometimes I might even come in here just use the color theme tool to pick colors maybe that I'm going to use on a website like in Adobe Muse, because I love this tool so much. But anyway, just for now, we're working with InDesign. I'm going to go ahead and say add these to my swatches, and it does it as a nice grouped swatch, or group of swatches, which is another InDesign fairly new feature, the ability to group your swatches together. All right, now that theme will stick around. It will not go anywhere in case you want to do other variations of it until you click off that tool. So as soon as I go back to the selection tool, then that goes away. Now, I place that image in the document. That doesn't mean, number one, that the image has to be on the page that you're going to do. And number two, you're not limited to just one theme. So for example, I know there was another image I thought I saw last time I did this search. See if I can find it. If not, I'll pick something else. And all right, we'll use this one. So I'm not going to use this image in my document, but I'll just drag it over here and kind of just drag it off to the side. And I can use that one as well to create an additional theme. So if I click on it, it gives me those colors. And that way I get that additional theme to work with. And maybe I want, again, I get the different choices, but maybe this time I'm going to go dark with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and just add those as well. And now I've got that dark theme as well. And again, once I'm done, that image doesn't need to stick around. I can just delete it. And by the way, again, these are Adobe stock. I didn't have to license them because I'm just stealing the colors out of them. I may or may not actually use them as the actual images. So they can stay as previews until I'm ready to decide. Now that I've got that done, I can, for example, select this nice background, and I can say, you know what? I'd like to see what that looks like with the yellow, or with the orange, or with the blue. I kind of like that blue. And you can see where it's getting it from. It's getting it from that kind of bluish snow on the ground. Now, this is kind of, again, where I would normally stop with the tip and say, okay, you've learned to use the color theme tool. Have a nice day. You can grab themes. You can use them in InDesign. You can use them in your Creative Cloud libraries, but let's not stop there. We got a little bit more we got a little bit more time. Let's do one more thing. And this means using the colors not for just the shapes or the imagery in the background, but maybe actually using it for the type itself. Now, in templates, they're typically going to take advantage of styles. So this one has, if I were to click into this title, it's telling me that it's using a paragraph style called magazine title. So now I know which one this template's using. And if I scroll through, everywhere that magazine title exists, it uses that font, that color, that size, all the leading, tracking information about it. And this gives me another opportunity to say, well, maybe I want that to be a different color. So instead of changing and having to highlight all of those and choosing the themes for the different colors, I can just double click on magazine title. I can go down to character color, which is one of the things that defines it. I can see that the current character color is black. I'm going to also make sure preview is checked. And now I can say, you know what? I would love to see a really light blue for my titles. So I can just click on that light blue that came from my second image, which still matches. And now if I click OK, I have changed that title color throughout my document. So there it is as a light blue there. There it is as a light blue there, all the way through my document, wherever that's being used. And we can go and say, you know what? No. That should be that color. Everywhere through where my document's being used, that swatch has now taken over. And of course, the beauty of using swatches is that you can change your mind later. So if I had just some crazy thought of going back to magazine title, going to character color and saying, hey, how about a little yellow? Ooh, no, don't do it. I know, don't do it. Or maybe a little gold. That might not be so bad. But then it'll go ahead and change it throughout. Oh, don't do that. It'll go through and change it throughout my document. Let's stick to this. All right. So you can use those colors. Use your powers for good, not for evil. And that will get you going. Hey, Dave Clayton's in the house. What's going on? Color palette picker was available in Photoshop and Illustrator. I agree, Dave. David, this color theme tool should be in every Adobe application because it's so useful. But again, even if it's not in an application that you want it to be in, you do have the ability to use it in other places. So for example, and what I mean by that, let's grab one more just for kicks here. There was one up here that had a lot of different colors in it. Yeah, let's grab the kind of wintry image here. Let's go ahead and place that in the background there. Let's move this out of the way. And let's say that, hey, I really like those colors and I want to use those in Photoshop, or I want to use those in Illustrator, or I want to use those in Muse. Again, grab my color theme tool, click. That will create that theme based on those colors. I want them to be a little bit more colorful. And now, instead of me saying put them in InDesign, put them in the InDesign swatches panel, I'm going to do one more step. I'm going to say add them to my current CC library. So when I do that, and I get out of my search for stock, and I go to color themes, it is there now for me, and that will now be in all my applications. So if I were to switch over to Photoshop, and I were to open up a Photoshop document, and I were to switch to my, I'm already in that CC library, and I were to go to color themes, I now have those colors in Photoshop as well. So that's what I meant by, even if I need those colors in another application, I'm not against having InDesign open just to use the color theme tool to grab those colors quickly. Now, there are other ways to do that. You can certainly use the Capture app on your mobile device. You can even go to Adobe Color, which formerly was Adobe Cooler. So you can go to the website and upload an image and do it that way. But to me, it's just faster to just do it in InDesign. All right, and of course, you can rename these themes. So you can say rename instead of Untitled. It could be Winter by the Fireplace. That way it gives it context as to where you got that from. And of course, we grabbed the color, but we didn't really use it. So let's click on that color. Let's go grab the type tool, and we can say colors by InDesign. All right, so we'll do colors by InDesign. We'll grab that. And so we got that nice orange color from the color theme tool from an image, sync to our Creative Cloud library. Therefore, now it's available everywhere. I can use it in Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere Pro, Muse, After Effects, anywhere I need these colors. And that's the beauty of syncing them to your CC library as opposed to just putting them in here. Now, one last thing. One more thing. Let's get rid of this image. And I just want to point out that you can, so like for example, I like that blue. Let's say I like that yellow, I like that orange, I like that gold, and I like this lighter blue. I can go ahead and say, give me a new color group based on those colors that I just picked. So I don't have to like manage multiple groups from all the different images I got. I can get my favorite colors out of each image, create my own new group, and then use that group from now on. And I can even delete the other ones. I can delete the other swatches that I'm not going to use. And I can say that this is my, for example, my newsletter group. So now I've created my own custom color group. I don't have to keep switching back and forth between all the ones I got the images from. And I'm not limited to just 5, by the way. I just picked 5 arbitrarily. But even if you want to drag and drop, you can drag and drop as many colors into a group as you want. Another side note, this is one that I didn't know right off the bat. But here, if I can do this real quick. Zoom in. You'll notice that it's CMYK. In other words, the color theme tool is also based on the format that your document is in. So when I open up this newsletter template, it's a CMYK based template. Therefore, every time I use the color theme tool, it produced CMYK colors. That was one of the complaints earlier, way back when. Hey, this is great, but it's making all of my colors RGB when I really need them to be a CMYK. So it will basically do the right thing based on the document that you have. So you've learned hopefully a few things about picking colors inside of InDesign. What's the application of mobile color? Julianne? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. All right. Iris, welcome. And RJ, hi. Okay. All right, folks, that's it. That's all I had. So if you are into color, but you're having a hard time picking them, let InDesign do that job for you with its wonderful color theme tool. And even if you need to use those colors in other applications, instead of adding them to InDesign, or in addition to adding them to InDesign, you can add them to your CC library so that way the colors you're making are available across the board in all your applications. All right, with that said, thanks everyone. And thanks for indulging me on my trip through the color options, or some of the color options in InDesign. And we will catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.